Yes, okay. So we have now touched upon different technologies that we can use to measure the, so to say, greenness, environmental parameters of sustainable and circular business model, especially on the environmental part. And we have jumped into looking into now. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, in the previous session, you have mentioned biogas, solar energy, and wind energy as the green resources. So, using biogas would also affect the pollution also. So, how it can be used as a sustainable energy? Because if it is even if it is reducing the carbon monoxide or other things from the environment, but it is also contributing to the pollution also, and thus harming the environment.
Yeah, and great question. I was really frightened that I would go home without questions, but now I see some turns up here. Fantastic, that's great. Concerning the biogas, actually biogas plants have been one of the most CO2 impacting plants, especially if you think that biogas is gathered and then put into a plant, and then if the plant leaks different things, then this has been a very big challenge for the biogas plants, that it could be documented. I remember some might here in this room have played with drones. They have used drones to measure the slip out of different things. So that is not precisely the answer of your question, because the definition of what is green is done by people, politicians, and that means that often what is thought and defined as green, I said this with I mentioned this with the nuclear power, that is actually defined by human beings, not by technology. And then some heavy political discussions and meetings have been done, and then they have defined biogas as green energy. But I understand that they are talking about if it actually is green. And if you go a little bit broader, you also know that the manure that is often used in biogas plants comes from pigs and cows and chicken and all this. And if you want to go and have a holistic view of the green, it could be that some of these animals are not actually green. So you might laugh a little bit about it, but in Denmark, one of the largest research area on animals that are producing the manure for our green biogas plants, that is that you know, when you eat something, then you get hiccups. I don't know what you call it, but the cows especially, they have a lot of it, and they go around like this. And so the largest research is actually how can we prevent that they do this, and then they also from the other end of the cow does some other things, and this is why at Aarhus University one of the largest research area is to prevent the cow to make these hiccups and what is the English word for what comes out the back end of the cow? Sorry?
Cow dung.
Yeah, cow dung. And they have been investigating the food that they give for the cows, And they have now found out that they can reduce it down to, I think it's about 10% or something like that. And there has even been some that has tried to have the cows banded in Denmark. You know, cows are not holy in Denmark, but we have a very, very high production of milk and meat from cows. And of course the farmers have fight against it. So the answer to your question, which I think is very, very important, that is that it's a political game, and those who defined it is humans, actually. So just in that area, we have different energy types that has different colors. So we have green energy, and then the nuclear energy was actually classified as orange energy. And then you have in US, which is very popular, that is fracking. You know, when you have these gas types that are in some places where you have very hard minerals and so on, then you can do fracking. But to get the gas out, you need to use kind of chemicals, as I understand it. So this has another color. I think it's called pink. The color. So you can go and think. You can go and on the internet there, and I can maybe also find the link. Then you can see that all types of energy have different colors. And Trump is very much for up to fracking, because he sees this as an important energy producer for the future. So I hope I answered a little bit of the question. It was not easy because when you have you deal with people that define what is green and what is not green, then you get into a very, very hot spot and a place where a lot of discussion is. Related to the young lady that works with supply chain, that is that we have this circle here called the life cycle assessment, and when you are dealing with supply chain and you combine it with LCA, which is a life cycle assessment that everybody has to do now in Europe, then you have to track. You see raw material and the resources, where it comes from, and then you have to track it down to manufacturing and assembly, and then you have also the transport and distribution, and then you have the use. So you see, you have to measure all around here, and that covers also the disposal and recycling. So you cannot just stop with you have delivered the nice tea or the nice chicken for eating this evening, or it could be some B-stars, it could be some books, it could be anything. You have to go all the way around and track it. And of course, this is impossible often when you have just humans to track it. You should try to see if you can get technology to track this. Let's go a little bit down here in life cycle assessment, and I don't know how many have heard about life cycle assessment. You have never heard about it. So LCA analysis is implemented in most businesses in Europe now. Within, I think they have about 2 years, they have to document it. normally a consultant that takes such a project in a small business, he will or she will have a price of something about 80 to 100,000 Danish kroners, and then you have to times it 12, then you have the INR. That's what the cost is for one business model for a general business in Europe. So if you have 100 business models, then you'll get a discount. but they are very expensive, and if you want to earn large money, you get into that business and you get the certification so that you can do the LCA, and then you have a really big potential. But that means that you have to know about the standards, and I will come to that now. Next. So the LCA is a kind of a modeling tool for quantifying the environmental impact of products and processes, and you can also use it on service. It is used to assist companies, consumers and policymakers in greening their practice and decisions. So you will come up with a number, and that will tell you where you are. And in many cases, when you do the LCA, as I showed the first picture, you are maybe coming from a black, and then you are greening. So it's very relevant for this. It can tell us if one product or business model is environmental preferable to another, or what aspect of a product are contributing most to the environmental impact. Next is that the LCA method and the science that underpins them have been developed over about 50 years. Is there something wrong? Okay. And it's supported by standards, international standards. So as my boss, Randy Prasad, he says, standards is important. If you can generate standards, then you are well off. So it means that a lot of researchers and practitioners around the globe, they actually defined these standards. So you can see again, it's humans that are involved. And then, of course, they want to sit on the standards and define the standards. That's why when they have these standard meetings, which goes on all the time, where it's approved and so on, a lot of the big businesses and a lot of the big consultants and so on, they are involved in these standard meetings, because that's where you have the definition, you have the agreement on what is standard of this and what is not. So the answer to the lady here on the right side is that the standards are defined by people, and and those who have the power in these standard meetings. That's the same as in wireless technology. You have meetings on standards, and the reason is also, if you have a standard, then everybody can program to it. They can work with it, and they can say, okay, this is how it is. So there are a lot of tools that can be used here, and they work in different ways with this LCA and the methods very much related to the carbon footprint and the water footprint, and then it increases all the time. So, for example, you remember we had these three parameters on the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line on the social area, they are actually also working on standards on the social parameter. And there has been a very, very big work in EU Commission with heavy time-consuming process to define what is social and when are you high on the social parameter. So this is used, and if we go next, it's it follows a kind of a specific process. So firstly, you look at the materials and where the resources are gathered from, and then you find out right to the back. Does it come from mining, drilling, or harvesting, or it could even also be waste? And so the next one thing is that is to look at the production. So I think what you had with the supply chain and also those who are working with the value chain inside the business, it's highly relevant here, because you, if you have a kind of tracking of the supply chain, and then you have the LCA analysis on sideways simultaneously, then you can you actually have a knowledge of how does it work, the supply chain, but on the same time you also have where are we having the heavy emission in our supply chain, and you can term it all the way down here. So you have the production, and of course many productions have different materials involved, and then you go to the use stage where the user starts to work with it. So you are also tracking on how they work with it, and then you have the end of life cycle. So it means what happens when the mobile telephone is not anymore in use, the windmills blades are not in use, the tea, what happens when it's not used. I have a small case from California, from Silicon Valley. There were some young students at Stanford University. They were going to Starbucks several times, and then they started to think about what happens with this small coffee, the leftover of coffee, when they press it for a cappuccino or espresso and so on. So they started to think, and they did not take a B-Star, but they took something else, and then they started to think, what if we could make a business model out of all Starbucks leftover of coffee? So they started it started like a bubble, and then they started to look at it. They had some investigation, and they couldn't really figure out how to work with it. And then suddenly, one day, because they had, played with it, and they had left it in a room in a house, then one of the students came into the room, and he saw that in this small bucket was this leftover of the coffee, and some mushrooms had turned up, because they had kept it for several days. And then he followed this, and then suddenly it came up with a very nice kind of white mushrooms. And then he started to think together with his group, it looks very nice. I've seen it in Whole Foods, these nice mushrooms. Let me bring it down to a restaurant and show it to those who are cooking the food. So he caught it, and then went to the restaurant and showed it to the chef. And he said, "Where have you got this mushroom?" Oh, it's something I am having, but it looks very nice, very nice. Can I have some more of those? I don't know, maybe I'll try, see if I can find out. And then on that ground, they actually started a business, a large business, where they started to import this coffee leftover from Starbucks and some other chains. And then they started to grow mushrooms and it has grown to a very large business now. And the thing is that the mushrooms are very, very high quality. And then they started to think about, maybe we should grow these in the cellar of some large houses where the rooms are old factories, where the rooms are not used anymore. And then if we can close it, then we could maybe bring them up on behalf of artificial daylight. So they have started on to finding these places, and then they make artificial daylight, and then they grow these mushrooms. But not only that, they also do, salad. They do a lot of other things. So they have really grown their business a lot on behalf of waste. Okay, next. The LCA quantifies resource requirements such as water and energy and pollution from each life cycle stages and the resulting environmental impact. If you have a kind of a business model that includes different things and also has a different way of setting up production, then you simply go in and you track all the way through, you track all involved materials and so on, and then it gives a holistic view of where emissions are taking place and how much emission you are doing. That sounds very, very nice and easy in the morning of Monday here in India, 17th of February. But you have to understand that this is not done automatically. So it has to, you have to do some homework. But another thing is that you also have to buy software. Because software, different types, contains the calculations so that you can calculate the numbers and the output of the LCA. And these guys that have done the standards, they have also developed the software, or they are the fathers of the software. So you could say, you remember we talked about creating, an innovation could be to create a new ecosystem. They have created an ecosystem where you can enter, but you have to have the certificates that tells that you are actually allowed to call you LCA number 1's certified consultants. So they have generated an ecosystem where they earn money on providing the software, training those who are going out to be consultants, those who are consulting the software that they are using, and all what service you have around it. And then of course you are not allowed to do it except that you every year has to take an updated course. And the reason is that every year the standards, they are kind of updated, because we get more and more knowledge about it. So if I was you, I was ending my MBA or master or PhD or whatever, I would look into this, because this can be your future. You could have very, very large amount of future here, and your weights package could be very, very high, because there are not many that can do this, not many. And I will look into some of the big consultant businesses and have a look into what they are doing here. PricewaterhouseCoopers, there is Deloitte and Touche. There is a lot of these, and it's a huge business, huge business. Yes, let's go next. So a kind of a process here, and it's very funny, because you remember back some years ago, everybody should have themselves qualified due to the quality standards, ISO standards. It's exactly the same that is going on here. So they are kind of having the same backbone. So it means that firstly you go in to business, and then you define the goal and the scope of what you want to do. You remember I was saying that on a strategic basis, you cannot do everything. So you have to define in your business, where do you want to put your focus. So this is also what I am trying to see if I can persuade you to do with the B business case that we after lunch we have to work a little bit with. That is, you have to find the business model that you would like to work with, and then put it on the B star, find out how it works, and then define how would you like to do it green. So that's the first thing. So what you maybe also can imagine here is that one kind of project on this in one business is not having the same goal and definition and scope in another business. Yes, let's go next. And let's go one more. The LC, related to the LCA, they have an under part that is called life cycle inventory, which is a list of all the flows of resources, input and emission output that occur in producing the reference flow of each product, you could say business model option. So this is the second thing, that is that you need to go in and gather all the data from the complete process. And of course that can be done by hand, but better if it could be done by technology. And then if you could get that to work, then you could get as close to real time. Because many of these LCA projects, they actually are kind of, maybe we have finished it 1st of February, and then we wait a year before we measure again. So it's actually kind of, old data, and as soon as the consultant is out of the door, we'll do everything else and not stick to what we have agreed upon. Next. So when you have a LCA software, it's all based on databases. So if you imagine that you have thousands of kind of numbers related to different parts, so this type of cover, this type of paper, this type of this and this and this, then it looks up into these databases. And of course everybody wants to sit on the standards, so there's a great fight around who has the best LCA system. So you could come into a situation where the same business, if they use a different LCA approach and software and so on, they can come out with 2 different results, 3 different results. So So often what I saw one researcher presenting in Madrid, in Spain, his results related to different setups of LCA, and he showed that I think it was red wine from some Italian manufacturers, that this red wine was classified from very good on the scale to middle or maybe close to not so good, and due to that the way they work is very different, and the databases also. Yes, next. The next thing is this phase life cycle impact assessment tells us how each of the flows in our life cycle inventory affects the environment. So it can actually show you that, for example, transportation or whatever, that this is doing this to, and this pure production is doing that. So I put in the slides some examples so you can have a look and see different cases on how that is worked. Let's go to next. And I think also we will go into the next one. So I put up some lists of some software, and I think it does not cover all, at least some of those that are on this one. I don't see them in this list from Denmark, but there are some that are top at the globe, and then there are some that are more, you know, national based, and these are all in your slides, so you can go and have a look, and some of them are integrated with the existing ERP system, or can be. So for example, you see SAP, they have systems that you can just plug and connect to this. Yes, let's go next. Then there are some, how to say, organization that takes care of it overall. In US there are some, in Europe there are some, I guess in Japan. I don't know the setup in India, but there are simply some that takes care of the different systems and how they are managed. Let's go next. And then when you have the analysis and so on, then a process starts on how to understand it. So you have a phase of interpretation where you will go with the consultant and then analyze and discuss how it looks and where you want to intervene. Then a whole new process starts where you start to intervene with what you already have had. Yes, let's go next. So, as I think I have indicated here, LCA is not an exact science. So it's you can always come up with, there were some questions here in the previous session and maybe also in this one, that what about this, what about that, and so on. It's not exact. It's very much influenced by people. It's very much influenced by some that have business interest in this. Sorry to say. It would be wonderful if you were neutral, but in this world it's sometimes difficult to be neutral. So you have to understand that before you go into it. Then of course also please don't forget that as in all market analysis, in all value chain analysis and so on, you often have a sensitivity analysis. So there can be some difference if something changes. Next. And here I also listed for your purpose some limitations to LCA, and these you can go and read about also in literature, because there are definitely some limitations to LCA, and you should not just adapt what the consultant says blindly. Definitely not. Definitely not. It's I would say in Europe it seems as if the large businesses are those that are most focused on to get this up and in place. But then it impacts, as I think I said the first day, it impacts the suppliers. So you will probably, when you start out in your businesses, you'll probably meet this as a requirement and a request, because maybe some large businesses, they are forced to do it. Yes, let's go next. And I think that's pretty much also what I said before. It's just representing on behalf of how we have set up the analysis, but it's not reality. Yes, next. In the business that I have proposed, I have shown you several times during this course, is the Salling Autogenbrug. They have actually tried to go into this area and find out what is actually inside the different raw materials that comes into their business, and then also try to analyze on the process that they are doing production and so on. But you see, they are very much challenged because most LCAs are in the area of new production, fruit virgin production, where you take a kind of steel in and just you could say pure raw material, and you create a car or a meal in a restaurant and so on. But they are not so much looking into a case of Salling Autogenbrug, where you actually get waste in, and then you have to work with that. And it's also extremely difficult, because how do you find out the LCA on such an old car? Another challenge is, of course, that it's extremely costly for Salling Autogenbrug to get the LCA on such a car, because we are talking about small money in this scale. So maybe that car, it cost about, I don't know, 5,000 Danish kroner, which times 12 will give the INR. So it's very small money we're talking about, and then it's a question if it doesn't make any sense to make an LCA. Yes, let's go next. I think I will finish this with giving you some input to the greening and some of the challenges on the greening part. So, and some of the cases are related to the Salling Autogenbrug. So, you see, Salling Autogenbrug, they have a challenge of coming from, you can say, the red zone up to the green zone and they are meeting some different what we call green walls. So we published a paper called Green Wall, and it's not because they don't want to be green, but they have some challenge. And the first challenge I think I missed sometimes during this course is that they meet plastic parts that they are scrapping, and these plastic parts they are nearly the only thing you can do with it is to bring it to landfill, and that's what has been done. You can simply not do anything with it. It's very difficult to take apart, and then you can of course take it to and then burn it, but then you have something that where at least in Denmark you have to burn it in a secure place and so on. So they have a very high green wall on this part because it's plastic and it's mixed plastic. The other thing is that they are facing a situation where there are no technology that are available, or not good enough technology that are available for production, or kind of taking the cars and then bring them into something that can take the raw material. And we talked about that the glass, if they take that out, it has to be taken out gently, otherwise it will just be worth nothing. All the things that are inside the car, if you want to take it out, it will be damaging maybe the other things and so on. So that's another green wall to come up to here. So next. Oh, sorry, just one back again. Here you can see the weight, the kilos of different types of material in a general car. I think this one was a Peugeot 208, and you can see that out of 100 kilo, 40 of this is plastic classified as PP. And then you can go into that. It's the plastic that they have done before has been extremely difficult, extremely mixed, and very not healthy for our globe. It's very difficult to work with it. The glass, of course, is also a very big fragment of it, of these 100 kilos. Then you can say, but the car doesn't weigh 100 kilos. No, but the motor has been taken out here in this case, and that one we can do something with because it's metal, and that is worth. Then you have, of course, the corpus and so on. And then I mentioned also the scale up. It's very difficult to get enough cars in, and then also to optimize the production. Yes, next. Then manpower, especially in Western European countries, is a big challenge. We don't have manpower enough. And the manpower is expensive. And that gives another green wall, because although we want to do it, we can't, because we simply do not have manpower. Then next, yes, then we have made some analysis on these car. And we have tried to dismantle it and make it into different business models. And Then we have tried to find out what we could do with it, how we could optimize it. We have tried to do all sorts of things, and until now, after we have had 15 Indian students group working with it, we have still not found a solution. We have even the last challenge we made with, we have forced the Indian students to think about AI also, to embed that in it. They have not come up with a solution that is sustainable, not until now. So if you have a possibility to come up with something, that we will be very happy. But especially the plastic and the foam I mentioned also, now also the rubber and the tires is so difficult to deal with. We had a large business that were dealing with the tires, but they, I think they got bankrupt. They could not continue the business. It was not possible. Yes, next. Let me see. Okay, I think we'll go next again. Yeah, I think we are pretty much done on this one. I hope you had a glimpse of the LCA, and seriously, if you are thinking about doing something in this field, then I think you have to look into LCA. And I know once a Norwegian PhD student, he took the advantage of taking all the courses in the LCA, and industry are continuously calling him to do consultants instead of his PhD. He is worth very much. And you know, it's very difficult because you want to do your PhD, but you can earn a lot of money on this. So I can only recommend it for you to go in. But if you want to go that way, please find out which of the LCA system is the one that is used, and especially here in India, and what industry it is, because you could actually fall into a trap if you go in and learn an LCA that is not actually relevant for you. Okay, shall we stop here?
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll meet again at 1 o'clock? 3 o'clock, okay. I thought it was 1 o'clock. Okay, 3 o'clock, yes.